Hi, everybody. Happy National Mentoring Month. I am Nikki Price, Mentor Recruitment Manager for College Now, Greater Cleveland. And the College Now Mentoring Program staff is so pleased to welcome you to the Mentor of the Year live stream today. We want to thank each and every one of our mentors for their dedicated support of our students. And all of our current mentors on the call, I do invite you to participate in our Recruit One campaign that's being kicked off today. Details should be in your inbox right after this call. So mentoring is integral to our goals for post-secondary attainment and completion. And we just really wanted to come together in celebration for the 2023 Mentor of the Year Awards. I am so pleased today to have this live stream moderated by someone who truly and deeply believes in mentoring, Margaret Trimmer. Margaret is the Vice President of Strategic Partnerships for Delta Dental of Michigan, Ohio, and Indiana, a dental benefits company that covers 14 million lives. She sits on the senior leadership team, providing expert counsel and direction on all issues related to the company's reputation. And in that role, she also guides marketing, public relations, company culture, and the investment of $8 million dedicated to building healthy, smart, and vibrant communities. So prior to joining Delta Dental in 2018, Margaret served for 2.5 years as the president and CEO of Junior Achievement of Southeastern Michigan. And she also founded and ran University Prep Science and Math schools in Detroit, which was one of the highest performing charter school districts in the region. And then, in addition, she also directed communications for the Michigan Education Association, the state's largest teachers union, for 10 years. While she was at the MEA, she started a nonprofit called Your Child. Prior to that, she started her career as a reporter for the Detroit Free Press, co-created the first ever education team, and spent 6 years covering education issues and trends before leaving the paper in 1995. So Margaret is deeply dedicated to education, as you can see. And I know from previous conversations that Margaret found a mentor at age 17 who has meant quite a lot to her, and in fact is still her mentor today. So this topic is quite near and dear to her heart. Margaret, thank you so much for coming, and I just want to turn it over to you.
Thank you. What a thrill. And I gotta say to our mentees, as much as I'm going to congratulate your mentors, because this is a Mentor of the Year award, mentees, congratulations for finding such really amazing people to guide you. It's not easy, and it's kind of like finding a partner in life, that person you're going to marry, right? It's a big deal, and the chemistry has to be there, and the connection has to be really powerful, and the commitment. And it's just not like this happens every day for everybody. So congratulations really to all of you. And the mentors in today's conversation are really being recognized for bringing out the best in their mentees. And that's what mentoring is really all about: tapping and realizing potential, helping somebody get to their best selves. And I really found a wonderful quote that I think underscores that. And that is a quote by Ralph Waldo Emerson. And he said, "Our chief want in life is somebody who will make us do what we can." And it's really quite simple. At the end of the day, we want to have an impact. We want to be the best that we can be. And today, that's really what we're recognizing and what we're going to tease out in our conversation with Heather and Amira and Shawana and, I'm sorry, Heather and Ashley and Amira and Shawana. I'm going to bounce back and forth. We've had some rehearsal time, and so I think there's some really key questions that I want to hone in, and really just starting. Heather and Ashley, I'll start with the two of you. You've known each other and been paired since 2021, and I'm not seeing everybody on the screen here, so hang on a second. Okay, there you guys are. You've known each other and worked together since 2021, and Ashley is really determined to become an artist. And Heather, you're an instructional designer, not exactly the same kind of artist as Ashley is studying to be. How did you two connect when you first met each other? Where did you find your common ground? And what were the things that you bonded over when you first met? Heather, why don't you take that question on initially?
Yeah, so Ashley and I connected, we got paired together, and we just started getting to know each other, just learned about Ashley's family, and I learned about her goals for her career in college and beyond. And I connected with her because my daughter is also into art and art making, and I am a teacher, so I was a classroom teacher and have been in education for over 20 years, and so have met many students who, like Ashley, are very motivated and driven to learn from others and overcome challenges and be successful in life.
Ashley, you're at Cuyahoga Community College. You're a sophomore, right? And your hope and your dream is to go on and get a bachelor's degree at the Cleveland Institute of Art or Cleveland State University. You're kind of wondering, like, what comes next. What did you see in Heather as when you started to get to know each other as highly valuable? Where and when did you realize, okay, this is a good partnership?
Well, after our second meet, there was like an event for Say Yes, and usually I will go alone because I don't have much friends around in Ohio, unlike that I have in Florida. And I wanted to go to that event because I still want to get that, college experience, so that I could tell my future children, be like, well, I went to this event, I hope you go one day, So I was thinking maybe I should ask Heather so I don't feel less alone. And when she agreed that she'll come with me, I knew that from, that day on that, we'll connect, that she'll be there, like as a friend would.
And talk a little bit about how having a mentor who's not your parent, who's not your teacher, who's not your boss, but somebody who's really got an objective view of you. Talk a little bit, Ashley, about how that's a really important guide on the side to have in your life, like the judgment thing. Is it different with Heather than it is with some of the other adults in your life, older adults in your life?
It's kind of different in the sense that, she's like more like a friend, more than like a mom or something like that. Like, my mom will give me advice, but it's always, good to seek other advice because like that same, like, two heads is better than one. And in a sense, it's different with her is because I'm a first generation student. I never been in college before, so all of this is new. But Heather, she helped me guide me for me to understand of what I should do, because I tend to get overwhelmed easily, like very overwhelmed easily because I get anxiety and such. And whenever I don't know something, I would like talk to Heather and ask her like, hey, I'm dealing with this situation. What do you think I should do? How should I approach this? And she would give me advice and just say like, just take a deep breath, think it through. And then from there on, that's when I, make action. Because, the least thing you want to do is, do an action that you don't know, what to do on.
Right, right. Heather, as an educator, you've worked with young people for some time. Ashley's not your student. She's not your child. She's not exactly a friend in the way that you might have your BFF group from childhood, but there's a special space in a mentor-mentee relationship. How would you describe that? And how, from your perspective, is it both gratifying and empowering for you to serve in that mentor role?
Yeah, I mean, one thing that I know just from being in schools and education for a long time is that the students who are most successful, and this goes for, you know, adults too, I think, are people who have at least one caring adult who knows them well and who they know has their back. And you start in, elementary school and move on to high school, and as you move up, in age and in grades, things get bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's harder and harder and harder to find the supports in this, services that can help you. And especially, for Ashley, she's the first of her family to go to college. She didn't have that, experience to lean on. And so utilize, I mean, she's so advocates for herself so well. And I always say, like, it takes two in this relationship. It takes the mentee to really reach out and say, here's what I need. And it takes the mentor to say, I'm here for you. Let's problem solve. Let's think about this. And I think that for Ashley and I, it's been great because she's been utilizing the resources that she has been given to help her through. And I don't think that all college students realize those exist, or they don't use them. And so I think that it's an amazing thing. And Margaret, you said you have a mentor. Adults need mentors too. We all need somebody who we know can be a non-judgmental person who we can lean on and get advice from and learn from. So
at this stage of my life, my mentor is helping me understand how to age gracefully. And that's a thing too. You need to have role models doing that so you know how not to screw up your aging process. Amira, I'm going to flip to you. Shawana is not in the room yet, but we can say some wonderful things in her absence about the relationship that the two of you have developed. Now, you are in your last year at Cleveland State, and you are studying early elementary education. And what a gift to be partnered with a woman who has 28 years in education behind her. And she's done all kinds of things in the education arena. Talk about how quickly and how thoroughly you bonded and developed a relationship when you got started back in 2019.
At the very beginning, I went to the first conference just like to meet her. She came open arms with me. She helped me with my scheduling. That's the first thing she ever wanted to see from me. She talked to me about how I had 8 courses and I shouldn't have done that the first year. So that, because I was a first generation student, I didn't really know better. So she sat down with me, talked to financial aid, talked to my advisor, helped me do a 3-way call and sit down and question the people. Just basic stuff like that I really didn't know much of, but she had under her belt because she was a first generational student too. And then also for field, she's also an educational student. So I just for her to tell me not just the good of education, but also the negative, not as much negative, but just for me to get prepared for reality. And I actually respect that more for her to do that, just so I don't walk in there next year basically not knowing anything. So she has guided me through a lot. She actually invited me to her school. I got to meet her colleagues. So that was really nice of her to do as well.
Right. Well, a truth teller, would you say? And
Yep.
Someone who could actually open your eyes in a way, again, mentor-mentee versus teacher and student, mentor-mentee versus parent and child. There's a special space in that mentor-mentee relationship. And there's a secret sauce that's required to make it work. Can you define that any more vividly, any more specifically? What is the spark and what is the magic of that relationship?
She's very consistent. She reaches out to me. She provides me help. She knows that I don't really ask for help a lot. So when I do ask, she knows it's important. She throws everything else aside. She always checks up on me because of the pandemic and everything. So we do typically FaceTime or just phone calls. We even check up on each other throughout the summer, see if we want to meet up. she met my family. She asked about my culture. Like, she was really respectful of like going out of her way just to do all that kind of stuff. So I really appreciate that, because not many people do.
Right, right. That's commitment. So there's a lot of how-tos for mentors in the literature, but there is one, I think, framework for mentoring that's worth talking about here, and it's called the 3 A's of mentoring. And the expectation, if a mentor-mentee relationship is going to work out, is that the mentor has to be available, has to be able to actively listen and listen without judgment, and has to be able to analyze a situation, understand your concern, and quickly come up with some strategies and some effective answers. The 3 A's: availability, active listening, and analysis. Let me flip to Ashley and Heather to talk about those 3 A's from your experience. How did they play out? And you don't have to use the A's to describe it, but those concepts, how did they play out in your relationship together? Ashley, why don't you go first, and then Heather, let's see it from your perspective.
Can you repeat the question? My bad.
Yep, the 3 A's. How did they play out in your relationship? Availability. You can get on each other's calendar. She's reliable as a person you can count on to be there when she says she's going to be there. Active listening, really listening to understand and not for her turn to talk or for to judge. Analysis, her ability to really understand what you're asking for and then provide a solution quickly.
Yeah, first off, a bit availability. We always try to look at each other's schedule, and there will be times that she sometimes offer me to, for a ride for when I, need it, like if I need to go to college and I have nobody to take me, she sometimes offers that. And we always figure out a time where we could, try to hang out. Like, I always pick around the weekends, sometimes, because, it's much more calmer than the weekdays, because usually weekdays are always very, very busy. And attention, well, she always, pay attention, to when I'm speaking. Like, I tend to be a very talkative person. I'll be honest here. Sometimes I'll be like, okay, Ashley, it's her turn to talk. So we always try to take turn of, like listening to each other, because like it's so fun if one person is talking then not the other. So we always try to take turns of, talking about our lives, because I always bring like the littlest thing into big detail. So I always just call herself, just the wing it duo, because we always try to wing it, throughout our relationship. Like, we always, like try to figure out things together, because this is all new for the both of us.
Right. Heather, how do you see those 3 A's playing out in your approach to mentoring Ashley?
Yeah, I mean, I think we try to keep our relationship organic, and not try to force anything that doesn't fit or doesn't work. I'm not a graphic designer. I'm not an artist. So I don't have a lot of background in those areas. But I know people who are, and so sometimes, I'll think, oh, I know somebody who you might want to talk to about an internship or something like that. But I would say, like, the active listening thing, I'm always trying to work on. I have 2 teenagers at home, and I know that I'm not supposed to offer advice when they bring issues to me, because, they just want to vent. And I also try to practice that with Ashley, like not try to jump to a solution right away if she just wants to vent something. Although I do offer advice and problem solve with her if she needs it. And sometimes I can't always, I don't always have the answer, but I certainly try to connect her with other people or other resources that she can use to help her.
Would you say those 3 A's are an accurate assessment in general terms of what it takes to hold up the role of mentor?
Yeah, absolutely. Those are right on. I think I said in our previous conversation, it can't be transactional. It has to be 2 people who see each other as human to human interaction, and who see each other as just, this is where I'm at, and this is where I'm trying to get to, and just really appreciate one another.
I love that distinction that you really need something relational, transformational, and not transactional. That's a really important distinction. Amara, can you add anything to the 3As? And then I see that we have some questions from the audience, which is really kind of wonderful. Anything to add to those 3As in your experience?
She was always very available whenever I needed her. She dropped anything. She always listens if I just want to rant or anything as well. So just like Heather and Ashley, I know that she, for analyzation, she did go out of her way at the beginning. I had issues with financial aid. I didn't understand where the money was going to at the time as a first generation. So she didn't really understand the thing. So she asked if it was okay to go on a 3-way call with me and talk to the advisor herself with me on the phone, so she can ask questions for me to get more clarification on it. And I really appreciated that because she knew better questions to ask rather than I did. So just for her going out of her way for that, I appreciate it.
Excellent. Excellent. Nikki, you want to throw the questions in?
Yeah, absolutely. So I also just wanted to share one piece from Shawana, who unfortunately couldn't make it today. But one of the things that she wanted to share about her availability in communicating with Amira was that being intentional with that communication, setting a time, making it work, connecting through Cronus, but then also, connecting. Amira, maybe, I think, is it video call or I can't remember exactly what she said, FaceTime. Yes. Setting that intentionally, regularly so that you have check-ins, set. And that was a huge part of the success of the relationship. But to go back to the fantastic questions that we're getting, from our viewers, and please, viewers, you have any questions, any positive comments, we'd love to hear from you. But from Lisa in our chat, she's asked, Ashley, has Heather given you any specific advice that you might share for the benefit of the whole group, that would definitely help other college students?
Well, it's not just Heather, it's also from my mom and from my dad and from basically everybody. This advice is to basically take one day at a time. Yeah, because there's times when I'm very, very overwhelmed, and I will be thinking, oh my gosh, I have 10 different things to do. But just like Heather and everybody else has been telling me, I have to take one day at a time, because if I don't, then I end up tripping. So I would give that advice to anybody, especially for college or in life in general, because sometimes you cannot do everything. You just got to take step by step.
Excellent.
Absolutely. And I don't have any other questions yet in the chat, but I'm hopeful at the next break we'll be able to have some positive comments. Current mentors, if you have anything positive you'd like to share about your experiences, please feel free to do so. But Margaret, I think we've got some other things to cover.
Yeah, well, I wonder if you look back on the last couple of years, 4 years for two of you and a little less than that for the others. How do you think you can use the experiences that you've had together to help in relationships going forward, to help in your work relationships, to help in Amira and your teaching? How has this experience maybe in a way helped you mature in what it takes to make a relationship work? Heather, why don't you jump in with Ashley?
Yeah, I've learned so much from Ashley, just over the short time that I've known her. And I think, she's taught me a lot about what it looks like when somebody who's really driven and really motivated, who has, a set of challenges in front of them, but, doesn't let that, get in their way. She has showed me so much about perseverance and just being a very scrappy, go-getter kind of person. And it's just really, I think it's just really inspired me, especially having, you know, 2 kids who are going to be soon getting ready for college, and sort of giving me a sort of mindset about, you know, what that could look like for them if they're really taking advantage of the resources that they have available to them.
Amira, I think I cut you off because I think you had your unmute on and you were ready to jump in there.
Well, because my mentor is from the educational field, and so I felt like she really helped me like just understand it more and like be prepared to become like a colleague of hers in a way. And I don't know, just like in general, as like the educational system, you have to be professional to become a teacher, but you also have to like relate to the children. You want them to feel safe and caring too. So she made me safe and everything too. So I want to put it to the kids.
That's really a powerful thing to understand as you build relationships going forward. You're young people, you know, it takes practice to get this relationship thing right. And Ashley, I imagine you've learned some things about relating to people in the world around you through this partnership. What would you tease out as the highlights of your understanding of what it takes to make a relationship like this work?
Well, I have a tendency to be a social butterfly. Although I'd be shy at the same time. I don't know how that works, being, you know, social and also introverted at the same time. But with Heather, like we always try to look at, you know, both point of view and everything. Like she looks at my point of view and I look at hers. And she helps me try to keep organized at times. Like there will be times that I would forget and she'd be like, hey, Ashley, remember this? And I'm like, oh, right. So basically we try to, you know, help each other in a sense, you know, like I message her or she messages me. And then, you know, I'm like, yay, I have someone who's there. Like, it's always nice to have, you know, that someone that reminds you sometimes. But when it comes to mentoring, you know, for her perspective, she's like teaching me of how to be organized. So like that when, you know, when that future comes, when I actually have my dream career, I could keep myself organized and on track. So basically, she's kind of like teaching me, you know, how to be more organized for the future because, well, right now I'm slightly disorganized, but she's slowly trying to teach me like, hey, just one step at a time, fix yourself and boom.
I would add another A, and I think the things that you've 3 have shared adds the accountability piece to this partnership. You really have to commit and show up and be intentional, as Shawana added to the conversation. Intentionality is almost one of those tickets to life. Heather, you mentioned in one of your comments that you've come to realize through this experience that really everyone needs a mentor. Everyone could find value in a relationship like this, but not everyone has a opportunity as structured and organized as this. Can you offer any tips for the people in this group and beyond who may be looking for that special person and can't find? I know my son struggles to find that mentor that's not threatened by him or going to somehow take advantage of the partnership relationship. What are some tips for people who may be looking for that mentor? How do you do it?
Oh gosh, I don't know if I'm an expert on this, but I would say that I would encourage, you know, people to not give up on the possibility of finding someone who's a good match, to talk to their network of people and friends and family to say, hey, I'm looking for a mentor. Do you have someone who you recommend? Obviously, College Now is a great resource that, you know, matches people up. And, you know, so if there's ever any like resources at people's disposal that they could use, that's definitely a way to go.
So you really have to raise your hand, speak up, reach out, look far and wide, and ask a lot of questions. And you'll find that special someone. We have sadly reached the end of our time together in this conversation. I think we have just really begun to open the can around what makes mentoring so powerful and so important, and what makes you, Heather, such a great mentor, and Shawana, such a great mentor, worthy of awards. And it's also due to the work that Amira and Ashley put into the relationship that it's so successful.
Can I
Congratulations.
just say too, I'm really sad Shawana's not here because she's so wonderful. And I just, I just want, if she's listening or if she's somewhere, Shawana, we're thinking about you. You're awesome.
That's really terrific, Heather. One of the more authentic people I think I've seen in this work. Amira, you want to punctuate it?
Yes, I just wanted to say thank you because she does a lot for me and I really do appreciate it. And she is an amazing person inside and out. So thank you.
Awesome. Nikki, take us away.
Thanks so much, everyone, for your participation. And like everyone has shared, we're so sad Shawana couldn't be with us today. Please do remember that mentors and students who are listening, please meet between today until January 31st and record that in Cronus, and then you'll be entered to win a gift card. So please, utilize the rest of National Mentoring Month to really work on that mentor relationship with your partner. And Margaret, cannot say thank you enough for your continued dedication to College Now and our students. And thank you so much. And everyone, please have a wonderful rest of the evening. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.